Welcome to this week's strategic briefing. Here's a hard truth. I know I can work 60 hours a week and still feel stuck, and my guess is you can too. That's because busy doesn't equal progress. Busy is just motion, and motion without direction will burn you out long before it builds your business. This strategic briefing is about the 4 specific shifts that CEOs use to escape the busy trap and turn motion into measurable results. Now, all week we've been peeling back this same truth. Busy is not a strategy. We've seen how false urgency spreads in teams, how operators confuse activity for achievement, and how owners get trapped doing instead of leading. Today's strategic briefing is where it all comes together. Not theory, not slogans. This is the practical blueprint for stepping into CEO level thinking where you get results without drowning in busy. So what does it look like when leaders actually escape the busy cycle? What separates the owner who measures progress in hours worked from the CEO who measures progress in results delivered? It comes down to 4 shifts, small but powerful changes that flip your focus from being busy to being effective. Shift number 1. Operators live in to-do lists and CEOs live in priorities. A to-do list is endless, but it feels productive and keeps you reactive, unfortunately. Priorities are selective. They force you to ask, what are the 3 things this week that actually move the needle? The shift is ruthless focus. You can get 100 tasks done and go nowhere, or you can get the 3 right things done and move forward. Busy leaders measure their worth in hours. CEOs measure their worth in capacity. Every extra hour you put in should either eliminate a future bottleneck, automate a process, or build a system that frees your team to run without you. If your hours don't increase the business's capacity to operate without you, they're just hours flying by. Shift number 2. Busy leaders measure their worth in hours. CEOs measure their worth in capacity. Every extra hour you put in should either eliminate a future bottleneck, automate a process, or build a system that frees your team to run without you. If your hours don't increase the business's capacity to operate without you, they're just hours. Shift number 3. Firefighting is busy. Designing is results. Operators are proud of how quickly they react to problems. CEOs are proud of how rarely problems reach their desk. That's the difference between running in the business versus designing the business. When you spend time designing workflows, structures, decision-making frameworks, you get stability, and that stability drives growth. And number 4, busy leaders hoard tasks. CEOs build ownership. It's not just delegation, it's authority transfer. Delegation says, do this task for me. And ownership says, this outcome is yours. Own it, drive it, improve it. And when your team owns outcomes, you stop being the bottleneck. That's when you actually start scaling. So here's your practical drill for next week. Write down 10 things you did this past week. Circle the 3 that directly drove results: revenue, client value, or capacity. Everything else, delegated to someone else. Automate it with a tool or a system. Delete it if it doesn't move the needle. Do this once a week and you'll watch your workload shrink while your results grow. Now here's where most leaders who are on their way to the CEO seat trip up. And these mistakes are worth calling out because they show up right when you're close to breaking through. You start mistaking long hours for progress. You feel noble because you're exhausted, but all you've really proven is that you're a good worker, not that the business is growing. delegating tasks but not authority. Handing off the work without handing off ownership just creates more helpers instead of leaders. You remain the bottleneck. Another thing is confusing activity with outcomes. Checking boxes feels like progress, but CEOs measure results, not motion. And holding on to being the busiest person in the room as a badge of honor. At first, it wins you respect, but eventually it costs you because true leaders are measured by the results their team delivers without them. Now, these mistakes aren't signs of weakness, they're signs of transition. But if you don't push through them, you'll stay stuck and busy long after your business needs you to lead. Busy is a badge of honor for operators. Results are the language of CEOs. The moment you shift from tasks and hours to priorities, capacity, design, and ownership, everything changes. You stop running out of time and you start getting ahead. Because your future doesn't need more busy, it needs more results. Now, if you want help making these shifts in your own business, schedule a complimentary maximum business impact session with me. Together, we'll map out the exact areas where you can cut the busy and drive results. I'll put the link down in the show notes. I'm Randy Bridges, and thank you for joining me on this week's strategic briefing. We'll see you next week.